Emmerdale finally delivered the long-awaited clash between Cain Dingle and Joe Tate on Thursday night, March 5th, as Cain punched his nemesis. But it did not solve anything for Cain. In fact, it has pushed him further into trouble. After being set up by Joe, Cain lashed out in anger. Now he finds himself trapped with even fewer options than before, and fans watching at home are already very clear about what they hope will happen next. Cain is under immense pressure in Emmerdale right now. Fighting cancer in secret, Moira sitting in prison, the farm close to collapse and Joe Tate constantly threatening him are all pushing him to breaking point. Rather than opening up about what is going on, Cain has instead turned to stealing cars to try to keep the bills paid. He previously managed to steal Joe's DeLorean without consequences when Graham discovered he had cancer and covered for him. But on Thursday things went very differently. Joe had laid a trap. He deliberately bought a very high-end car and left it parked where Cain would see it before heading to the pub. Cain recruited Commie, they grabbed Joe's keys and drove the car away, believing the job was done. But Joe had planned it all and installed tracking cameras, capturing the entire theft on video. Realizing he had been cornered, Cain snapped and punched Joe to the ground. As he prepared to strike again, Dawn rushed in and separated them. She threatened to call the police, but Joe stopped her. Instead he made Cain an offer. He would keep the police out of it, but only if Cain hands over the farm. Next week it becomes clear Cain is struggling to see any way out of the situation. Joe continues to threaten him with the police, and the financial pressure on the farm is not easing. Cain eventually confides in Sarah that Joe has him trapped thanks to the video footage. She tells him the lies have gone on long enough, and insists he must tell Moira the truth. Accepting he has no other option, Cain visits Moira and finally confesses everything. Although devastated, Moira makes it clear that Cain's health must come first. She then asks for Kim Tate to be brought to the prison to see her. But what exactly does she have planned? In a poll run on Emmerdale Insider, viewers have made their feelings very clear about what they want to happen next. Under no circumstances do they believe Moira should sell the farm to the Tates. A huge 83% of voters rejected the idea of Joe and Kim taking control. Comments included, "No, don't sell the farm. Fight them all the way. And no, drive your tractor through manure and splash Joe all over with it, that would be a great laugh." Others pointed out how much the farm means to Moira, especially as her daughter Holly is buried there. "Emmerdale needs a happy ending for that family," wrote one fan. Some viewers did suggest selling might be the only solution, but they insisted it should not be to the Tates. Ideas ranged from Caleb buying the farm to help the family out, to Graham taking control before eventually handing it back to Robert to continue the Sugden farming legacy. Whatever happens when Moira comes face to face with Kim, one thing is clear from viewers. They do not want to see the farm fall into the Tates' hands. For months now, Cain has been carrying a crushing burden. To the outside world he still appears tough, stubborn, and in control, the same hardened man the village has known for decades. But beneath the surface, his life is unraveling. Unknown to most people around him, Cain is secretly battling cancer. The diagnosis has shaken him deeply, but instead of leaning on his family for support, he has chosen to keep it hidden. That decision has left him isolated and emotionally exhausted. At the same time, his wife Moira Dingle is currently behind bars, leaving Cain alone to hold their family together. With Moira imprisoned, the responsibility for the farm has fallen entirely on his shoulders. And the situation on the farm is dire. Bills are piling up. The business is on the verge of collapse. Every day brings a new crisis. As if that wasn't enough, Joe Tate has been lurking in the shadows, applying relentless pressure and waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Cain has always thrived in conflict, but this time even he may have taken on more than he can handle. Desperation leads Cain down a dangerous path. Instead of asking for help, Cain has made a decision that could destroy everything. He has turned back to crime. In a desperate attempt to keep the farm afloat, Cain has secretly started stealing cars again, something he hasn't done in years. It's a risky move, but to Cain it feels like the only option left. Earlier, he managed to steal Joe's prized DeLorean DMC, 12 without facing consequences. That job should have landed him in serious trouble, but fate intervened. Joe's associate Graham Forster discovered Cain's cancer diagnosis and decided to cover for him. For a moment, it seemed like Cain had gotten away with it. But Joe Tate was not the kind of man who forgets or forgives, and he was already planning his revenge. Joe's perfect trap. Joe is many things, ruthless, calculating, and patient. Rather than confronting Cain directly, he devised a far more devastating plan. Joe deliberately purchased a luxury car and left it parked in a place where he knew Cain would see it. Then he casually headed to the pub, making sure the bait was irresistible. From Cain's perspective, the opportunity seemed too good to ignore. With the farm in financial ruin and Moira still in prison, stealing the car looked like an easy way to make quick money. But what Cain didn't realize was that Joe had planned every detail. Hidden tracking devices and cameras were already installed in the vehicle, silently recording everything. The trap was set. All Joe needed to do was wait. The theft. Believing the car was an easy target, Cain recruited his accomplice Commie. Together they grabbed Joe's keys and drove away with the luxury vehicle, confident that the job had gone smoothly. For a brief moment, Cain felt relief. Maybe this gamble would finally give him the money he needed to save the farm. Maybe everything would work out. But that relief didn't last long, because Joe had already seen everything. The shocking confrontation. When Joe confronted Cain with the evidence, the situation exploded. Realizing he had been completely set up, Cain's anger erupted. Years of resentment toward the Tate family, combined with the unbearable pressure of his current situation, boiled over in an instant. Cain punched Joe hard, sending him crashing to the ground. The moment was shocking, but not entirely unexpected. The hatred between these two men had been building for years, and it was only a matter of time before things turned violent. As Cain prepared to strike again, someone rushed in to stop him. Dawn Taylor stepped between them and separated the two men before the situation spiraled even further out of control. The tension in the air was electric. For a moment, it looked like the police might soon be involved. A sinister offer. Dawn threatened to call the authorities immediately. After all, Joe had just been assaulted, and Cain had clearly committed car theft. But Joe had something else in mind. Instead of pressing charges, he decided to use the situation to his advantage. Joe calmly revealed that the entire theft had been recorded on video. Every second of it. Then he made Cain an offer that changed everything. Joe would keep the police out of it, but only if Cain handed over the farm. The same farm that Cain and Moira have fought so hard to protect. The same land that holds decades of memories and family history. Joe wasn't just demanding property. He was demanding Cain's entire life. Cain realizes he's trapped. Over the next few days, the reality of Cain's situation becomes painfully clear. Joe holds all the power. If the footage reaches the police, Cain could face serious criminal charges. With Moira already in prison and the farm drowning in debt, that would be catastrophic. Joe continues to apply pressure, reminding Cain that the clock is ticking. Meanwhile, the financial problems at the farm keep getting worse. For the first time in a long time, Cain has no obvious way out. Cain finally confides in Sarah. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much. Cain decides to confide in Sarah Sugden. He reveals everything: the stolen car, Joe's video evidence, and the ultimatum threatening the farm. Sarah is shocked by what she hears. But more than anything, she is frustrated that Cain has kept so many secrets. She tells him the lies have gone on long enough. If he wants any chance of saving the farm, he needs to be honest. That means telling Moira the truth. The emotional prison visit. Realizing she's right, Cain finally makes a difficult decision. He visits Moira in prison. For the first time since everything started falling apart, Cain admits the full truth. He tells her about the cancer. He tells her about the car theft. And he tells her about Joe's ultimatum. The confession leaves Moira devastated. But instead of blaming Cain, she focuses on what matters most: his health. Moira insists that Cain's cancer must come first, no matter what happens with the farm. Then she makes a surprising request. She asks for Kim Tate to be brought to the prison. What is Moira planning? Moira's decision to confront Kim Tate directly has left viewers wondering what she has planned. Kim is one of the most powerful and intimidating figures in the village. If anyone can challenge Joe Tate's schemes, it might be her. But can Moira really trust the Tate family? Or is she walking into another trap? Fans are already speculating that Moira could be preparing a bold counterattack. And if anyone is capable of surprising everyone, it's Cain Dingle. Fans speak out. While the drama continues on screen, viewers at home have already made their feelings very clear. A poll conducted by Emmerdale Insider revealed overwhelming opposition to one possible outcome. Fans absolutely do not want Moira to sell the farm to the Tates. A massive 83% of voters rejected the idea completely. For many viewers, the farm represents far more than just land. It's a symbol of the Dingle family's resilience. It's also deeply personal for Moira, especially because her daughter Holly is buried there. Losing the farm to the Tates would feel like losing everything. One fan wrote, "Don't sell the farm. Fight them all the way." Another suggested a more creative solution. Drive the tractor through manure and splash Joe with it. Others simply said the Dingle family deserves a happy ending after everything they've endured. Possible solutions. Some viewers admitted that selling the farm might eventually become unavoidable. But even those fans insisted it should never go to the Tates. Instead, they proposed alternative solutions. Some suggested that Caleb Milligan could step in and buy the farm temporarily to help the family. Others wondered if Graham might take control before eventually handing it back to the Sugden family. And some fans believe the land should ultimately remain connected to the Sugden legacy. Whatever the solution, one thing is certain. Fans are emotionally invested in the farm's future.